It's all about peace, spreading love in the world. So I gotta represent rebels for joy, positivity. You know that we're all about it. Magic happens when you align your purpose, passion, and power. Just believe in your greatness. I know for sure the light that you radiate too strong to ignore. Emotional revolution. It's time that we start. Love, we need more. We are rebels for joy. Woo!
Hey, sister, welcome to another episode of Rebels for Joy. I am one of your rebellion leaders, Bonnie Kelly. And y'all, you know I'm here with my soul sister, JB. Hi, Jillian.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Bonnie. How are you?
I am good and excited to dive into all things moon in this two-part series. Yeah. This is your geekery.
This is my geekery. This is like my full. The other day you said something to me like, there are kind of nerds. And I was like, oh, I love that statement so much. And so if you have been at all ever intrigued by the moon, interested about the moon, then hang tight because you're my kind of nerd. And if not, if you're in this place of like, what is this moon talk? Listen in to this two-part series. This is the first part. We're going to be launching the next podcast, which will be the second part. And you will be our kind of nerd when it comes to the moon after, because you'll know more. And this is just so exciting.
Because it's all about understanding the different cycles. And every single month, we individually go through these cyclical, these different cycles. And if we haven't been practicing our intuitive awareness around them, then we could be falling victim to them, or even worse, denying ourselves the space for them, and then leading to burnout. And so especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a mom, if you're just a woman in general, the moon cycle and understanding the just different flows of this, even if you're spiritual around it or not, is really, really powerful. But before we get into that, y'all know we've got a fun joke just for you. And I was laughing hysterically and Jillian's like, don't tell me. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
I literally have never heard this before. And just like the look on your face when you read it, I'm excited. So bring it on.
It's so, well, y'all know it's cheesy. Yeah. Okay. So why can't Elsa from Frozen have a balloon?
A balloon?
Mm-hmm.
Because she'll let it go.
Yes, because she'll let it go. Let it go.
First joke that I've ever guessed correctly on here.
Oh my gosh. I probably wouldn't have guessed it because my mind immediately was thinking, well, because she'd pop it because she's
right?
And ice and cold. It doesn't go together with air. But no, she'll let it go. She'll let it go.
Well, and to be fair, at this point in time, you have a 1-year-old, I have a 6 and a 3-year-old. So that song, like the lyrics are like, I might as well just get them tattooed to my forehead. Like they're permanently ingrained at this point. So
I've been into the Frozen 2 lately. So my husband's like, are you really watching that movie again? And it's like my 1-year-old is not watching it with me. And I'm like, yeah, no. Evie likes it.
Blame it on the 1-year-old because like Frozen 2, I mean, it's my soul movie. Anyway, we can digress into there, but let's get back into the moon because this is so delicious. I'm so excited.
So we're gonna dive into the first sections of the moon, right? So the first half of the moon in this podcast, and then we'll go into the next one. So this one we're gonna start right around the new moon, and understanding. All right, Jillian, what is the new moon? Like, why do we need to pay attention to it? Why is it such a big thing? I'm stacking questions, but why is tell us about the new moon and why we need to know about it.
Okay, perfect. First, let's take just a quick step back. We are going to be talking about the 8 phases of the moon cycle. I really like talking about the 8 phases of the moon cycle. Today, we're talking about the first 4. Now, the moon cycle itself is about 28 days-ish. And there are different sections of the moon cycle that really ask us to sink into different energies. And everything is cyclicality. You had alluded to before, our female cycle is a cycle. The seasons are a cycle. Even the day, right? Like the hours in a day, we can look at it on a linear scale from hour 1 to hour 24. But really, sun up to sun down, moon up to moon down, everything is cyclicality. And I believe that we are being called and being asked to get back into the remembrance of that cyclicality. No more is it about forcing through and only walking this linear line that we've created in our brain that makes any sort of sense. It's about getting back into the flow of of cyclicality. It's the waxing and the waning that the moon reminds us to really participate in. And why we even bother with the cycles, why we even bother with understanding the waxing and the waning, is because we then, when we know what Mama Moon is doing up there and what the cycles, each individual cycle is asking for us to do, we can then tap into how we are feeling during each time of the cycle, tap into what we want to do, underline want, that word want there, and what we're actually allowing ourselves to do. So it's not that the moon is pouring down this magical potion on us. That's the point. The point is, are we allowing ourselves to participate and understand how we connect in with that magical potion, which is the moon cycle? So that's kind of like big snapshot with the totality of the moon cycle. And as you said, the new moon is the beginning. It's the kickoff point, right? If we are going to take first steps first, then let's start at the beginning. And that is the new moon. So do you want me to answer a specific question first, or do you want me to like just kind of generally go over new moon stuff?
Well, we'll generally go into new moon, and then we'll talk about how it applies to us, like how we can utilize it to reclaim our joy as well. But before we get to that, I think it's so imperative to kind of highlight some of the things you were just saying there, Jillian, because we forget to tune in to how we feel on a regular basis. So if anything else, using this understanding of these 8 different phases of every single month to check in and to recognize there's aspects of every month where you are wanting to be more introverted. There are different aspects of every month where you want to be more creative. There's aspects of the month where you're craving connections and other parts where you're craving solitude. And all of us are going through these different phases in the cycle. But if you're not tuned in to what you're feeling, and you're not tuned in to how you're showing up, then you're going to force your way through it and you will burn out. Or you keep yourself so busy that you'll burn out. You keep yourself so distracted that you'll burn out. Do you guys get the theme of the burnout here? So we want to feel into ourselves, to start to recognize our needs and wants and begin to give ourselves permission to honor these different phases as we go through them every single month. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Honoring the phases, because we have, I don't know, taken on some weird notion that we are meant to be robotic and that we're meant to do the same thing over and over every day, right? We're supposed to, we should, right? Using that word that you and I both like really don't like, but we should be doing these things because that's what society tells us to, or that's what our job really needs for us to do. We forget that we are human beings and we get to participate. And really, when we answer the call of what we want and honor how we're feeling, we live a better life.
Yes, we
do. The way that I live by is by the moon cycle, so that I can live my most tapped in, connective, high functioning, fulfilled life.
Yeah. Wonderful. So now let's go into the new moon. Okay, let's talk about, give me the overview of that when we're in that phase, because each one lasts about 2 to 3 days, something like that.
It's like 3-ish days. Yeah, it's not completely perfect in terms of like what we think of it as in terms of linear time, but 3-ish days.
Okay, so we've got 2 or 3 days between the new when we're entered into the new moon. Like, how do we know and how do we best honor ourselves during that season?
Perfect questions. So the new moon is actually the time in the moon cycle where we can't see the moon. So the sky is completely black. It is what I consider a clean slate. And so with the new moon, the energy is actually a very doing energy. So this is an active time of the moon cycle. We want to be actively participating. This is more of that extroverted time. This is the waxing time of the moon cycle. And as we'll talk about as we continue with this podcast in the next one, every other phase is the waxing and every other phase is the waning. So it's always the yin and the yang. They're coupled together. So the new moon is the time of the month where we really get to set intentions for what we want to do, but more importantly, how we want to feel. If we are going to utilize the moon cycle to help us live our most fulfilled life, then being intentional about what we want to do and how we want to feel is the kickoff point. And it's also the point that we always go back to throughout the cycle. Because when we declare, I want to do these things over the next several days, weeks, whatever it is, and I want to feel this way, then every single point from here on out, we get to check back and say, am I in alignment with what I said I wanted to do? And am I in alignment with how I said I wanted to feel?
Yeah.
And so picture a farmer planting a seed, right? Like in the black, like no guarantee, right? Like you look at a little seedling and you're like, there's no way this is turning into corn. But you've got that belief and you've got that deeper understanding that it's not going to turn into corn if it doesn't get into the ground. So though it may be hard to see, literally with no moon in the sky, planting the seeds of your intentions is the only way to guarantee that anything will come to fruition. So we want to get really crystal clear during this time of what it is you actually want. This
Yeah.
is the time to plant the seeds of your dreams so that you can allow for them to manifest over that moon cycle.
Now, imagine if you're listening to this, how intentional and impactful your life can be if every month you had a couple days where you just carved out space to decide how you wanted to feel for that month and what you wanted to accomplish. We are often thinking of the big term goals, right? So we set goals for the year, but we don't always set goals or intentions for our month. And I think that this is a great reminder of having a monthly moment to go within and get very clear with who we are and what we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And without doing that, it's easy to get lost and it's easy to get swept away by the currents. And we here as a Rebel for Joy, we advocate and we agree to do things different. And that means with intention and purpose. And all aspects of our lives. So awesome, Jillian. All right. So now the next one makes me always think about Sailor Moon because it's the Crescent Moon. 90 nerd, what can I say? I was actually 80s, born in the 80s, but Sailor Moon was 90s, but it was still cool.
That little heartbeat for that. Yep.
All right. So let's talk about the Crescent Moon because I think a lot of people know about that moon as well. But where is this in the sky and how does it impact us as well?
Yep. Perfect question. So if the new moon is the first phase of the 8-phase moon cycle that we're talking about here, the crescent moon is the second phase. So I love this phase. This is a being phase. This has the waning energy. So we just spent a lot of outward active energy during the new moon, setting intentions and declaring them. And actually, I'm going to add into the new moon, write them down, actually make the action of bringing the thought and the heartbeat and putting it on the page. From there, oftentimes, what do we want to do? Especially as generators, as creators, we get the idea and we want to go, right? Like Bonnie, you and I know that energy far too well. And so what the crescent moon does is it says, okay, I know how excited you are. You just set these amazing intentions and oh my goodness, like the opportunity that's coming for you is just incredible. But first, would you breathe?
Yeah.
Right? So that's what the crescent moon is giving us the deep opportunity to do. It is the first real inward time of the moon cycle. And the reason why it's so potent is because we get to take the intentions that we set during the new moon and really embody them. Feel them, get them out of our heady space that a lot of times the intentions and the to-do list and the go, go, go mentality comes from, and feel it everywhere in our body. This is the time for us to breathe in and relax into a deep seated trust that the intentions that you set will come to fruition. How easy is it to declare you're going to do something and then dive right in but not have that convicted belief? Really easy. So the crescent moon is actually the phase where it's like, okay, you said what you wanted to do. You declared how you wanted to feel. Can we let your full human and your full soul participate in this.
Yeah, gosh, that's so beautiful because we move straight to action, right? We get these inspired ideas, we get excited about our dreams, our goals, and our ambitions, which is great. It's good to have that excitement, but excitement is an emotion that's temporary. It's short-lived. And we have to have like that drive throughout the entire month to really be in that flow means that we have to sink out of our head and out of action and into our hearts for a minute. And this is powerful even with your gratitude practice, right? So you set this intention, but if you're just saying gratitude on a daily basis, it doesn't have the same impact as if you feel gratitude on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So we got to
Perfectly
take
said.
these I am statements. If you're trying to create abundance or land more clients or, be more patient with your children or whatever it is you set the intent for that month to do, we got to take it out of the idea and really feel it and starting to encompass it with these I am statements that I am patient. I am grateful. I am abundant. I close X amount of deals every month, and really allowing that to just start to emanate from the inner being versus like it being separate from who you are. And I think the Crescent Moon is just a great, great space for people to do that.
It's the time period where people are no longer able to stay on the hamster wheel that they've been on, right? Like you said before, if we want to participate, if we actually want to be present in the life that we want to live, we need to be intentional. And so many of us just run on that hamster wheel day-to-day basis. And so the Crescent Moon is like, okay, it's time to hop off, because in order for those dreams that you declared you're ready to allow to come to fruition to actually happen, you need to feel it. You need to believe it with the totality of your being.
Yes. All right. So now we're going extroverted again. So we go
sure are.
inward, outward is where we're going. And this next one is kind of confusing because it's called a quarter moon, but we actually see a half of the moon in the sky.
Yes. So when you think of the pizza pie moon up there, right? Like we think we're seeing the full thing, but actually it's based on how the sun is hitting it. We're only seeing half of it at the full moon. So when we see the first quarter moon in the sky, it looks like half of the thing, but we're only seeing a quarter of it. So yeah, it's confusing, but the next phase is the first quarter moon. And this is the first opportunity to take inspired action on the intentions that you set, right? So we set our intentions with the new moon. We allowed for it to really sink into our being with the crescent moon. First quarter moon, it's time to go. It's time to go, but with discernment, with excitement, but with understanding that you can't do it all at the very same time. You can't do step 17 without doing step 1 first. So the first quarter moon tells us, asks us, like kind of like I picture like a runner in the running blocks, like, all right, that's the gun going off. First quarter moon is the gun going off. It's time to start the race. However, you cannot jump over the hurdle that's 10 meters in front of you without taking the first step out of the blocks.
Yeah.
So with this particular moon, super, super excited to be really focused on what is the very smartest, the most deeply feeling first step that you can take that's going to be the thing to get everything in momentum. Yeah. And in terms of joy creation, Bonnie, this is really important because we were so excited about the intentions that we set, and then we did a good job allowing ourselves to embody it. And if we think that we're going to just complete the whole idea in like the first hour, that sets us up for failure. So when we are really discerning what it is we want to do, we get to do first, we're actually setting ourselves up for joy immediately because we're finally starting to work on it, but we're guaranteeing joy throughout the process too, because we know that there is a process.
Yeah.
We know that the first step will lead to the second step, that will lead to the third step. And if we're really present with how to call it about in a way that feels flowy and beautiful and with no expectation that we have to get it all done in one fell swoop, we guarantee a deeper level of enjoyment throughout the process.
Yeah. And what's beautiful about this, so for those of you listening, Jillian and I are recording this one, we're on like week 5 in California here of the quarantine lockdown. And we had to like go completely back to the drawing board because we ended up having everything for this entire year within the business planned out, mapped out, emails written, ready to rock and roll. We had a lot of things that were planned on live events and interacting with you, our beautiful soul sisters, and helping to heal and to grow and to thrive. And all of that got thrown out the window. And I remember this April, like in the beginning of April, at first I was kind of like in shock. I didn't know what to do, like crying, grieving, feeling lost, and then getting clear. And I use this month in the moon cycle so far in saying, okay, like, let's get clear, let's set this intention, and allowing these inspired ideas to come through. And then got this amazing download, these list of cool things that we could do that I've always wanted to do, but we've never done. Like,
Right.
get our YouTube channel like just so on point and allow it to just continue to grow, because all of these episodes are available for people there too, but they get to see our faces.
Right.
We have these beautiful 10-minute or less, videos to help them grow and to feel inspired. And so to just put so much intention behind that in my Audible book and all of these other aspects and dimensions, right? So we have all of this cool stuff. And then I had to like step back and embody and figure out then, all right, like, what do I want to feel through this? Like, I'm going to now own those feelings. I'm going to, just introvertly like prioritize them. And then here in that quarter moon, really being discerning about what's the best first thing, right?
Yeah.
What is the best first thing? What do I want to focus on? Do I want to focus on this, or this? And having to just realize that I can't get it all done at once, even though I really, really want to.
I know.
And like just going through the motions, going through the process, and really honoring that space of that quarter moon process. It's been really cool. It's been really fun to watch.
And doesn't it like, it almost takes the pressure off you when you're like, oh, okay, this is what energetically is pouring down from the universe right now to guide me with. I always say this, Mama Moon is up there doing her thing. There may be a pandemic going on down on Earth, and she's still flowing naturally through her cycle, gifting us with her energy that we can tap into whenever we choose. And so when we get to utilize that to support ourselves, whether it's in a time of crisis or a time where everything feels super abundant and rainbows and unicorns and butterflies, it allows for us to live the best version of ourselves, live our best lives, and know that here it is, we are exactly where we're meant to be at any given point in time. That's what the moon brings us back into, is that presence, that now presence. Because if we are tapping into what we need and what we want in the moment, and we are gifting ourselves with the energy that Mama Moon is gifting us, like, it's just a win-win all around the board.
Yeah.
So,
and the best
well
part
done,
is,
Bonnie. That's really good.
Thank
really
you.
Good.
And even when I mess up, or even when I just like get so into something, just kind of go into those old taking action mentalities, because I'm just like a goer and getter doner.
Yeah.
It's great because like, guess what's happening first part of next month? It's a whole new moon.
Whole new moon, exactly.
Starting over.
That's what I love about the new moon. And we'll end this at the end of the next episode with understanding that we always are going to have a new cycle coming.
Always
That's
another one.
Always true. So
let's finish this one off.
Yeah,
okay. Let's get into the is it gibbous?
It's the gibbous moon. It's your favorite. The first time I said it to Bonnie, she was like, what is that word? So it's the gibbous moon. And you said that beautifully. And this is the time period of the month that I feel you and your coaching style, Bonnie, this is like your like meat and potatoes. This is your sweet spot in terms of really supporting people. The gibbous moon is the time period of the moon phase where, again, we're going inward. We're getting a little bit more quiet. And this is the time period where we need to be super gentle with ourselves and understand that, okay, we've taken that action. We've taken the action. How does it feel now that we have a little momentum going behind the action based on the intentions that we set? So a lot of the times what will happen during this phase for people is that they'll begin to self-sabotage because they've taken the action and they've put themselves out there in whatever way, shape, and form. And so they're feeling vulnerable. They're feeling like, I can't believe I just started that. Even if you're doing an exercise program, right? It's like day 2 or day 3 and you're freaking sore. And like, sometimes you don't want to go back because it feels uncomfortable. So remember, every time we take outward action that's inspired and that's new, there's excitement, there's passion, there's purpose. However, there's also the human element of like, whoa, never did that before. Like, not quite sure how I feel. This is outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So the gibbous moon gives us the opportunity to be present with our feelings and to get ready to release the things that we're not feeling are quite in alignment. We don't have to release them yet. That will come in the next episode. That will come with the full moon. But the gibbous moon allows for us to take that first quiet moment of deep reverence for what we've done, reflection on what's worked, and then also gives us the opportunity to get really real about what we thought was a good idea, but may not be, and not take any quick, like knee-jerk reaction on it, but just allow ourselves to kind of witness and be with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-sabotage is real, guys. Like, this is where your fear, your insecurities, your doubt, it's all going to just flare up loud and proud because you did put yourself out there. You are, when you're vulnerable, the internal, guiding system is like every red flag is up. It's saying like, warning, warning, system shutdown, system shutdown. And it'll put us into a place where we do perpetually avoid or procrastinate or withdraw to safer ground. And that's not always where we want to go. So this is where, so in this moon, it's like recognizing that they're going to get loud. Okay. Those insecurities, to begin to expect them, to trust that you are capable, to surrender them, because it's more introverted again, because now we're ending this segment off with another introverted one. And so we are going inwards to really honor those feelings. We don't want to make them wrong. We want to recognize your fear is doing its job. That's what fear is. Fear is doing its job. It's protecting you. Yeah. So if it's showing up, we want to thank it, and then we want to put it in its place. Instead, a lot of times we ignore it or we try to deny it, and then it controls our behaviors. Totally. And that's not where we want to go with it. So
or we'll numb out and we'll try to overcompensate and keep taking action, and we wind up way down a rabbit hole that could have been avoided had we just witnessed our feelings at the beginning and realized, okay, I just may need to reroute a little bit here.
Yeah. So good. So good. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I am becoming obsessed, or maybe that you already knew about the moon and you're looking for a sister circle to join, you guys, I invite you to join us over with the Moon Collective Circle, Moon Cycle Collective. I said that funny. Moon Cycle Collective. You can actually learn more about it at rebelsforjoy.com. You can join the sister circle. We also have a Facebook group that we'd love for you to be a part of as well. You can find us over at Rebels for Joy Facebook group, and then you'll find links to go over to the Moon Cycle Collective from there as well. So come, sister, join us, hang out. If you're even not in the moon, or into the moon cycle, join us over in our Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you, and let us know what you learned from this episode. Take a screenshot of it and tag us. Tell us what you really, really enjoyed and maybe what your takeaway is today. We'd love, love, love to know more about you. So thank you, Rebel Sister Jillian. Thank you so much. I can't wait to jam out with you again on the next 4 phases.
You got it. Have a great day, Moon Goddesses.